Women's Basketball Weekly Update, head coach with us, Aaron Johnston. We talked about this last week, a unique week in the opponents you're playing going into last week, the win at home against Coppin State, the loss at Oregon. Just give me overall thoughts on how the week went for your program.
Well, it was a good week. We had two just completely opposite ends of the RPI spectrum that we played last week. We played one of the lower and one of the very best. And really in both games, I thought, we played well, just certainly not well enough to beat Oregon on the road. Great environment there. They have a phenomenal team, and we just didn't quite have it. We had a couple of injuries. Obviously, Maya didn't play in that game. Tori went down with an ankle injury early in that game, and so those two have made so many positive plays for us. I think our team had to try and regroup in that Oregon game. But all in all, it was a good week. I think our teams practiced really hard. We're better now than we were 2 weeks ago, and I hope I can say that every week as we go forward. So tough loss at Oregon, but I really like where our team's at.
Curious, I don't mean to put you on the spot. I say that, but I guess I am. That Oregon team you played, that's one of the best you've ever coached against, isn't it?
Well, in terms of just talent, yeah. I mean, they're right up there. A couple years ago, played Notre Dame at their place. They had quite a few players who went on to play professional basketball. Oregon is certainly going to be one of those teams that has a really legitimate chance to win a national championship this year. They're just so good offensively. They're long. They can block shots. They can defend on the perimeter. A lot of people can shoot and score. So that's a tough team and a great environment. It's a fun place to go. It's a great memory for our team. I wish it would have been in a different cause in the win-loss column. But still, it's a great challenge, and we'll continue to look at those challenges going forward.
Other point before we wrap up the talk about this past week, you mentioned the health with Nelson and with Selland. How do you view that moving forward this week?
Well, it'll be a challenge. Maya I think is going to be out for a little while here. I don't see her coming back anytime soon. Unfortunately, her career, not just this year, has been slowed by injuries, and what she needs is just time to get healthy. Watching her try and fight through a couple of things she's been dealing with here this year is just tough on her and tough for everybody. So we want to be just respectful of her time and her overall health. So we're going to give her some of that, and then. Tori will just have to see day to day. We just got back from that trip, and we don't suspect it'll be anything too serious, but we don't know that she'll be back immediately either. But like I said, both of those two have made so many plays for us here recently. I think our offenses, I wouldn't say run through them, that's not what I mean, but they've created a lot of offense with their talent, and then all of a sudden you lose that against one of the very best teams in the country. So we have some work to do. But it was nice to get Tegan back. She was back after sitting out for a while, and I thought played really well considering she hadn't played much basketball. So that was a good one for her to get moving again too.
We look to this week. Nice to have a couple of games back in Frost Arena.
It is. We've had a tough road schedule. When you start looking at it, that's not a negative. We knew that going into it, but you travel all the way to Cancun and back, all the way out the West Coast and back, sprinkle in 3 other trips away from Frost Arena in the early part of our year. We've not been at home much, and now we've got a really good stretch of games we hope to play well in. Frost is just such a fun place. The atmosphere always is helpful, and right now our team needs that because we're still finding our way a little bit, and I know they'll enjoy being here.
Let's talk about the two teams you'll play for fans who don't know much about them. Chattanooga, we talk about a tough schedule. 7th away game they've had already, which will be on Wednesday night when they come here.
We look at their record, and they're a very different team than like Coppin State, who had a comparable record. When I look and watch Chattanooga, it's like, ooh, they're a better team than what their record is. And no doubt playing on the road has been hard for them. They've lost some close ones, and they just haven't quite found their way in that difficult schedule that they've had. So we've got to play well and make sure there's a good start to that game. We have a good day off here early in the week. We'll have one day to get ready for them. Hopefully play up to our potential, see where we're at with our health of our team, get back to some consistency offensively, and then turn around and have a real good opponent coming in here on Saturday.
And that's Central Michigan, who started the year rough in the loss column, but against some really good teams. Now they've won 4 in a row and playing their best basketball.
Yeah, it's always hard this time of year when you look at some of our mid-major schedules. Ours we're 6-4, I think, right now. You could look at that and say, oh, geez, where are they at? We're a really good basketball team who's played a bunch of really good basketball teams, and Central Michigan is the exact same way. They've had some tough losses to some really good teams, and there's a bunch of mid-majors out there where you can look at us all, and it's still hard to really figure out who's going to rise to the top. But they do a lot of things well. They return enough key players from last year and a team that was elite, so they understand what it takes to win. We got them in a close game last year. I'm sure that's maybe still on their mind, so we'll have to play well in response to it. But as I said earlier, I just like where our team's at. There's things that we'll absolutely get better at, but our work ethic has been phenomenal every day in practice. Everybody's really bought into what we're asking them to do, and I just see progress every day we're out there on the floor, and I hope this week is the same.